Have you ever felt like you were giving everything to someone, pouring your heart and soul into a relationship, only to feel unseen, unheard, and undervalued? It's like screaming into the void, hoping they'll notice you, but instead, your efforts only seem to push them further away. The harder you try to hold on, the faster they slip through your fingers. It's frustrating, disheartening, and frankly, it makes you question your worth. But what if I told you there's a way to break this cycle? A way to not only reclaim your peace, but also make them truly feel your absence. This isn't about playing games or manipulation, it's about making a bold, stoic choice that shifts the dynamic entirely. This is the power of no contact. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Isn't no contact just another tactic to make them miss me? Let me stop you right there. No contact is not a trick or a gimmick. It's a transformative decision that prioritizes your growth and self-worth above all else. When done right, it forces them to confront the reality of losing you. But here's the twist. The real magic of no contact isn't about them. It's about you. Through this journey, you'll uncover a deeper strength you didn't know you had. You'll stop chasing validation and start living authentically. You'll embrace the principles of Stoicism, learning to control what's within your power and letting go of what's not. This isn't just a strategy, it's a path to becoming the best, most unshakable version of yourself. So stick with me. We're going to break this down into 6 transformative stages of no contact. Each stage is designed to challenge you, push you, and ultimately change the way you see yourself and your relationships. And by the end, you'll not only be unforgettable, you'll feel unbreakable. Are you ready to take this step? To choose silence not as a retreat, but as a declaration of your worth? Let's dive in, starting with the first, and perhaps the hardest step, the reality check. 1. Reality check. The initial silence. The first stage of no contact is like stepping into a vast, quiet void. You've made the decision to stop reaching out, to hold your ground, and now you wait. At this point, it's natural to expect immediate results. Maybe you think they'll notice I'm gone right away. Surely they'll feel my absence and come running. But here's the truth, they don't. At least not right away. Instead, you're met with silence, an all-encompassing, unsettling silence that seems to mock your resolve. It's like staring at your phone, willing it to light up with a message, but it doesn't. The world keeps turning, and they don't seem to notice. This is the reality check, and it hits hard. Why does it feel so personal? Why does their lack of response feel like a direct attack on your worth? The answer lies in human psychology. We're wired to seek connection, to feel validated by others, especially those we care about. When that validation is absent, it triggers self-doubt and insecurity. But here's where Stoicism can guide you. Instead of spiraling into these feelings, ask yourself, what can I control in this moment? You cannot control their actions, but you can control your response. You can choose to see this silence not as rejection, but as space for you to reflect, grow, and regain your balance. Think of it like planting a seed. The seed doesn't sprout immediately. It needs time in the soil, time to take root. Your decision to go silent is that seed. But let's not sugarcoat it. The first few days of no contact are some of the hardest. It feels counterintuitive to do nothing, especially when every instinct tells you to reach out, to fix things, to chase. This is where the real test begins. Can you sit with the discomfort? Can you trust the process, even when there's no visible result? Here's a powerful metaphor to ground you. Imagine yourself as a lighthouse. A lighthouse stands tall, steady, unwavering, no matter how violent the storm around it. It doesn't chase ships or beg for attention. It simply shines, and its light is seen by those who are ready to notice it. Right now, your task is to be that lighthouse. Stand still, shine quietly. Let them feel the distance. The reality check isn't just about them noticing your absence, it's about you noticing your own strength. It's about proving to yourself that you don't need immediate validation to know your worth. Each day you resist the urge to break the silence, you're building a foundation of resilience. But let me ask you this. Are you willing to trust yourself through this stage? Are you ready to sit with the silence and let it teach you about your own power? If the answer is yes, then you've already taken the first step toward transformation. Remember, this silence is temporary, but the growth you'll experience will last a lifetime. Stay grounded in the principles of Stoicism, focus on what you can control, and let the rest unfold naturally. You're stronger than this silence. Say it out loud, write it in the comments below. Declare it as your truth. I am stronger than this silence. And keep moving forward, because the next stage will test you even further. Are you ready to continue this journey? Stay with me. The transformation is just beginning. 2. Reclaiming your energy. If the reality check is about embracing the silence, then the next step is about reclaiming something you may not even realize you've lost. Your energy. When you've been caught in the cycle of giving, chasing, and proving yourself to someone else, your energy becomes scattered. You've poured so much into them, your time, attention, thoughts, even your peace of mind, that it's no wonder you feel drained. This stage is where you take it all back. Let me ask you, have you ever felt like you were running on empty, constantly giving and getting little to nothing in return? If so, now is the time to change that. Imagine yourself as a battery. Every text you sent, every moment spent waiting for their response, every ounce of effort you gave to keep them in your life, it all drained that battery. And since they weren't giving back, you've been operating on low power, desperately trying to recharge through their validation. But here's the truth. Your energy was never meant to be dependent on someone else. This stage of no contact is about plugging back into your own power source. It's about becoming self-sustaining and refusing to let someone else dictate your emotional reserves. Take a moment to reflect. What could you do with all the energy you've been giving away? What if you redirected it toward yourself? Picture this. Instead of scrolling through their social media, waiting for signs they might miss you, you're learning something new, diving into a passion, or simply taking care of yourself. Every ounce of energy you reclaim is fuel for your growth, your healing, your transformation. This is not just an act of self-care, it's an act of self-respect. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and reclaiming your energy is the ultimate expression of that philosophy. You can't control whether they notice your absence, but you can control how you use the time and space that absence creates. So ask yourself, how will I invest in myself today? Now, let's talk about why this is so powerful. When you start redirecting your energy inward, it creates a shift that others can't help but notice. You become more vibrant, more grounded, more alive. It's not about trying to get their attention, it's about stepping into your own light. And that light? It's magnetic. Imagine a flower that's been neglected. It droops, its colors fade, its vitality diminishes. But when it's watered and cared for, it starts to bloom again. The petals brighten, the stem grows strong, and it becomes impossible to ignore. That's you. You're the flower, and reclaiming your energy is the water you need to thrive. But here's the catch. Reclaiming your energy isn't easy at first. You might feel resistance, like a part of you still wants to give. That's normal. You've been conditioned to believe that your worth is tied to how much you give to others. But let me remind you of something crucial. Your worth is inherent. It doesn't depend on anyone else's acknowledgement or approval. So how do you start this process? Begin by identifying where your energy is going. Are you constantly thinking about them? Checking your phone? Replaying old conversations in your mind? Notice these habits and then interrupt them. Every time you catch yourself giving energy to thoughts of them, consciously redirect it. Write down one thing you want to do for yourself this week, something that excites you, challenges you, or simply brings you peace. Commit to it. Because every step you take toward yourself is a step away from the pain of waiting for someone else. Here's an affirmation to carry with you through this stage. I am my own source of energy. Say it, write it, feel it. Because when you start to believe it, you'll realize just how much power you've been giving away and how much stronger you are when you take it back. Now, let's bring this full circle. By reclaiming your energy, you're not just healing, you're transforming. You're becoming the person you've always wanted to be. And as you grow, they'll feel the shift. They might not be able to name it, but they'll sense that something is different. Your energy, once freely given, is no longer theirs to take for granted. This is your moment. Embrace it fully. Reclaiming your energy is the foundation for everything that follows in this journey. Without it, you're still tethered to the past, but with it, you're unstoppable. Before we move to the next stage, I want to hear from you. If this resonates, if you're ready to take back your energy and start living for yourself, hit the like button right now and comment number 1 below. Let's show the world that we're not waiting anymore, we're rising. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. This journey is just getting started, and I promise you, the best is yet to come. Together we'll keep building, keep growing, and keep transforming into the strongest, most unshakable versions of ourselves. You're not alone in this. Let's move forward, one step at a time. Are you ready? The next stage will take everything you've reclaimed and push you even further. Stay with me. The transformation continues. 3. Becoming your best self. This stage is where the real transformation begins. If reclaiming your energy is about redirecting the flow of what you've been giving away, then becoming your best self is about putting that energy to work. It's about stepping into your power, not to prove anything to anyone else, but to prove it to yourself. This is the stage where you take everything you've learned, everything you've endured, and use it to create a stronger, wiser, and more authentic version of you. Take a moment to pause and reflect on who you are today. Not the version of you who's been chasing validation or living in someone else's shadow, but the you that's been waiting to emerge, the one who's ready to grow, thrive, and shine. Becoming your best self isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. It's about living in a way that feels true to your values, your passions, and your potential. So where do you start? With small, intentional steps. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and transformation isn't a destination, it's a journey. Think of yourself as a sculptor standing before a block of marble. Each action you take is a strike of the chisel, gradually revealing the masterpiece that's been hidden inside. The process is deliberate, sometimes painstaking, but every step brings you closer to uncovering your full potential. Let's ground this concept in something actionable. Begin by asking yourself, what are the habits, routines, or thoughts that no longer serve me? Maybe it's the habit of constantly checking your phone, the routine of putting others' needs above your own, or the thought that you're not enough unless someone else tells you so. Whatever it is, recognize it and commit to letting it go. Next, ask yourself, what can I do today to invest in myself? This isn't about grand gestures or sweeping changes, it's about consistency. Maybe it's setting aside time to exercise, reading a book that inspires you, or simply taking a moment to breathe and reflect. Each small step builds momentum, and that momentum creates transformation. Imagine this process like planting a garden. At first it's soil, unassuming, quiet, but full of potential. You plant seeds, water them, and tend to them daily. At first nothing seems to happen, but beneath the surface, life is stirring. Roots are growing, strength is building, and eventually, the first shoots break through. That's you. Every effort you make to become your best self is a seed planted in the garden of your future. But let's address the elephant in the room. What does best self really mean? It's not about achieving some external ideal or fitting into someone else's definition of success. It's about becoming the version of you who is unshakable, self-assured, and deeply at peace. It's about building a life that feels full and meaningful whether or not they come back into the picture. This is where the principles of Stoicism come into play. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, and to release attachment to outcomes we cannot dictate. In becoming your best self, you're not seeking validation from others. You're not living for their approval or hoping they'll notice how much you've changed. You're living for you. You're taking ownership of your life in a way that's grounded, deliberate, and powerful. Ask yourself, what does my best self look like? Is it someone who radiates confidence? Someone who pursues their passions with vigor? Someone who sets boundaries and stands firm in their worth? Whatever it looks like, visualize it clearly. Write it down if you need to. Make it real in your mind, because what you believe, you can create. Now let's talk about the power of this transformation. When you focus on becoming your best self, something extraordinary happens. Your energy shifts, you stop chasing and instead you start attracting. People are drawn to those who exude confidence, peace, and purpose. It's not about manipulation or playing hard to get. It's about becoming so secure in who you are that others can't help but take notice. But here's the twist. By the time they notice, it might not even matter to you anymore. Why? Because you'll have found something far more valuable than their attention. You'll have found yourself. And that's a kind of freedom no one can take away. Think about this. The best relationships are built not on need, but on choice. They thrive when both people come to the table as whole, self-assured individuals who choose to share their lives, rather than seeking someone to fill a void. By becoming your best self, you're setting the foundation for that kind of relationship, whether it's with them or someone new. You're breaking free from patterns of codependency and stepping into a space where you can love and be loved from a place of strength. Of course, this process isn't without its challenges. There will be days when it feels easier to fall back into old habits, to let self-doubt creep in, or to wonder if it's all worth it. On those days, remind yourself why you started. Revisit the principles of Stoicism. Focus on what you can control, and let go of what you can't. Remember that growth is not linear, it's messy, it's imperfect, but it's always moving forward. Let me give you a metaphor to hold on to. Becoming your best self is like climbing a mountain. Each step is a test of your endurance, your resolve, and your faith in yourself. The climb is steep, and there are moments when you might feel like giving up. But as you ascend, the air becomes clearer, the view more breathtaking, and the sense of accomplishment more profound. And when you reach the summit, you'll realize that the journey was worth every struggle, every setback, and every ounce of effort. This stage is about more than just healing. It's about thriving. It's about taking the pain of what you've been through and using it as fuel for your transformation. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of greatness no matter what anyone else says or does. And it's about embracing the truth that your worth is not determined by someone else's recognition. It's determined by how you choose to show up for yourself every single day. As you move through this stage, remember that becoming your best self is not about reaching a finish line. It's about the journey itself. It's about waking up each day and choosing to invest in yourself, even when it feels hard. It's about taking ownership of your life and refusing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. So ask yourself, what can I do today to move closer to my best self? And then do it. Not for them, not for anyone else, but for you, because you're worth it. When you embrace this stage fully, you'll find that you no longer feel the need to chase. Instead, you'll attract. You'll draw people and opportunities into your life not because you need them, but because your energy, your confidence, and your sense of purpose are undeniable. And that's the kind of transformation that changes everything. 4. The breaking point. The breaking point is the hardest part of the journey. It's the moment when the weight of everything, the silence, the doubts, the fear, comes crashing down. This stage feels like standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down into the unknown, questioning if you can hold steady any longer. It's where your resolve is tested most fiercely, and where you discover the depths of your inner strength. Let's be honest, by now, you expected some kind of response. You've held your ground, reclaimed your energy, and begun the work of becoming your best self. Yet here you are, still met with silence. It's as if all your efforts have led to nothing, and that realization can feel unbearable. The breaking point doesn't whisper, it roars, demanding your attention, challenging your commitment to this path. Why does this stage feel so overwhelming? Because it forces you to confront your deepest fears. The fear of being forgotten, the fear of unreciprocated effort, the fear that all of this, the silence, the space, the transformation, might not bring them back. These fears are like shadows, looming large in the absence of clarity. But let me ask you this. What if this breaking point isn't a sign of failure, but a gateway to freedom? What if this pain is the crucible that forges your resilience, shaping you into someone who doesn't just survive heartbreak but thrives beyond it? Think of it like a storm. When you're caught in the middle of it, it's hard to see anything but the chaos. The wind howls, the rain lashes, and the sky feels like it's caving in. But storms are temporary. They pass. And when they do, they leave behind a clearer sky, a calmer sea, and a world washed clean. The breaking point is your storm. It's brutal, yes, but it's also transformative. At this stage, the temptation to break the silence can feel unbearable. You might think, if I just reach out, maybe this ache will disappear. Maybe I'll get the closure I need. But let's pause and reflect. Would breaking your silence truly bring relief? Or would it pull you back into the cycle of seeking validation? Would it help you heal, or would it reopen wounds you've been working so hard to close? Here's the truth. The breaking point is not the time to retreat, it's the time to rise. It's the moment when you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your fears, stronger than your doubts, stronger than the urge to chase. This is where Stoicism becomes your greatest ally. Focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your response to this storm, and release what you cannot. Let's shift perspective for a moment. What's happening on their side during this stage? While you're battling your breaking point, they're facing their own inner turmoil. That silence you've maintained, it's not going unnoticed. They feel it, even if they don't show it. They're grappling with the void you've created, trying to make sense of why you're no longer chasing, no longer reaching out, no longer playing the role they've come to expect. But pride is a powerful force. It convinces people to mask their feelings, to act unbothered, to hold back even when they feel the pull of your absence. This is why it's so important for you to hold steady. If you break your silence now, you relieve them of their discomfort. You give them an easy way out, a shortcut that prevents them from fully grappling with the reality of losing you. Imagine you're a dam holding back a powerful river. The water represents your energy, your attention, your love. By going no contact, you've stopped that flow. You're no longer giving them the validation they've come to rely on. Instead, that energy is building behind the dam, creating pressure. Over time, that pressure becomes undeniable. It forces them to take notice, to confront what they've lost. But if you release it too soon, the impact is lost. The pressure dissipates, and they're left with nothing to reflect on. So how do you navigate this breaking point without losing yourself? Start by grounding yourself in the principles of Stoicism. Ask yourself, what can I control right now? What actions can I take that align with my values and my goals? Then focus on those actions, no matter how small they may seem. Maybe it's going for a walk, journaling your thoughts, or practicing mindfulness. These moments of grounding remind you that you're not at the mercy of your emotions, you're in control of how you respond to them. Next, lean into the discomfort. It's tempting to numb the pain, to distract yourself from the ache of the breaking point. But true growth comes from sitting with that discomfort, from letting it teach you what you need to know about yourself. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to show me? What lessons can I take from this moment? Often the breaking point reveals truths about our strength, our boundaries, and our capacity for resilience. Let me share a metaphor to keep you grounded. The breaking point is like the moment before dawn. It's the darkest, quietest time when it feels like the night might last forever. But then, slowly, the light begins to creep in. The sky brightens, the world awakens, and you realize that the darkness was only temporary. The same is true for this stage. It feels endless, but it's not. It's leading you somewhere brighter. Finally, remind yourself of the bigger picture. This breaking point is just one stage of the journey. It's not the end, it's a turning point. Every day you hold steady, you're building something powerful within yourself, a sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on anyone else. By enduring the storm, you're proving to yourself that you are capable of facing pain, of navigating uncertainty, and of emerging stronger on the other side. Let me leave you with this thought. The breaking point is not a place to stop, it's a place to grow. It's the moment when you choose to rise, to stand tall, to let the storm rage around you without letting it break you. This is where you discover your strength, your resilience, and your power. You're not just surviving this stage, you're transforming through it. Keep going. The dawn is closer than you think. 5. Doubt. Facing the shadows. Doubt. It's the quiet voice that creeps in when the world is silent. It's the shadow that lingers just out of view, whispering questions you thought you'd already answered. Did I make the right choice? What if they've moved on? What if I'm not enough? Doubt doesn't announce itself boldly. It seeps in gradually, catching you off guard in your most vulnerable moments. And this stage of no contact, facing the shadows, is one of the hardest to endure. Let's be real. Doubt is natural. It's human. When you've taken the bold step to go, no contact, it's only normal to wonder if it's working, if they're noticing, if they're even thinking about you at all. And in the absence of answers, your mind begins to fill in the blanks. You start to imagine worst-case scenarios, replay past conversations, and second-guess your decision. But here's the thing. Doubt is a part of the process. It's not a sign that you've failed or that your efforts are in vain. On the contrary, it's a sign that you're growing. Because growth, real, meaningful growth, often requires us to step into the unknown, to leave behind the familiar, and to confront the parts of ourselves we've avoided. Doubt is the shadow cast by the light of your transformation. So how do you face it without losing yourself in the process? The first step is to recognize doubt for what it is. A feeling, not a fact. Doubt isn't proof that you've made the wrong choice. It's a reflection of the uncertainty that comes with change. When you start to feel its weight, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Often the fear isn't about them, it's about you. It's about the fear of being alone, the fear of not being enough, the fear of failure. Once you've identified the fear, remind yourself of why you started this journey. You chose no contact not to punish them, but to protect yourself, to reclaim your energy, to step into your worth. Doubt doesn't erase those reasons, it simply challenges you to hold on to them more fiercely. Imagine this stage like a dark tunnel. When you're in the middle of it, it's hard to see the light at either end. It's easy to feel trapped, disoriented, unsure of which way to go. But the tunnel is temporary. If you keep moving forward step by step, the light will come into view. The doubt you're feeling now is like that tunnel. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's leading you somewhere brighter. Here's where the principles of Stoicism can guide you. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to release what we cannot. You can't control how they feel about your absence, but you can control how you respond to your own thoughts. Instead of letting doubt take the wheel, acknowledge it, and then gently redirect your focus. Ask yourself, what can I do right now that aligns with my values? Maybe it's journaling your feelings, practicing mindfulness, or simply taking a walk to clear your mind. These small acts remind you that you're in control of your own journey. It's also important to remember that doubt is often a sign of progress. If you weren't growing, if you weren't stepping out of your comfort zone, you wouldn't be feeling this resistance. Growth is inherently uncomfortable. It requires us to face the parts of ourselves we'd rather avoid, to sit with uncertainty, and to trust the process even when we can't see the outcome. Let me give you a metaphor to hold on to. Doubt is like a cloud passing across the sun. When the cloud is overhead, it feels like the light has disappeared entirely. But the sun hasn't gone anywhere. It's still shining, still providing warmth and light, even if you can't see it in that moment. Your worth, your growth, your strength are the sun. Doubt is just the cloud, temporary and fleeting. But let's be honest, even knowing this doesn't make doubt easy to endure. There will be moments when it feels overwhelming, when the urge to reach out to seek reassurance becomes almost unbearable. In those moments, pause, breathe. Remind yourself that this feeling, like all feelings, is temporary. It will pass. And when it does, you'll be stronger for having faced it. Another powerful tool for navigating this stage is to focus on gratitude. When doubt tries to pull your attention toward what you lack, answers, closure, their acknowledgement, redirect it toward what you have. What have you gained through this process? Maybe it's a clearer sense of your worth, a stronger commitment to your own growth, or simply the peace that comes from no longer chasing someone who didn't value you. Gratitude shifts your perspective, reminding you that even in the midst of uncertainty, there's still so much to be thankful for. Now, let's talk about what might be happening on their side. While you're wrestling with your own doubts, they're likely facing their own. That silence you've maintained, it's creating space for them to reflect, to feel the void you've left behind. And while they may not show it, that absence is making an impact. People often take time to process loss, to fully understand what someone meant to them. Your silence isn't going unnoticed, it's working beneath the surface. But here's the truth. This stage isn't about them. It's about you. Doubt challenges you to trust yourself, to hold steady even when the path ahead feels uncertain. It's an opportunity to deepen your resilience, to prove to yourself that you can weather the storm without losing your way. So how do you move forward? One step at a time. Each day you resist the urge to break the silence. Each moment you choose to focus on your growth rather than your fears. You're building something powerful within yourself, a sense of self-worth that no one can take away. Let this stage be a reminder that doubt is not the enemy. It's a teacher. It's here to show you where your fears lie, to help you confront them, and to guide you toward a deeper understanding of your own strength. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to know how this journey will end. All you have to do is keep going, because on the other side of this doubt, there's clarity. There's confidence. There's the unshakable belief that you are enough, just as you are. The shadows of doubt may feel overwhelming now, but they can't dim the light you're becoming. Keep moving forward. You're stronger than you think. 6. The unforgettable you. You've endured the silence, reclaimed your energy, pushed through the breaking point, and committed to becoming your best self. Now you've arrived at the final stage, becoming the unforgettable you. This is where everything you've been building culminates into a version of yourself that radiates strength, confidence, and peace. It's not just about being noticed, it's about becoming someone who leaves a lasting impression, whether or not the person you went no contact forever returns. The unforgettable you isn't someone who's perfect. They're someone who's real, grounded, and unapologetically themselves. By this stage, you've let go of the need to prove anything to anyone. You've stopped living for external validation and started living in alignment with your values. And that shift, it's magnetic. Think about the people who've left the deepest impressions on you. Chances are they weren't the loudest, the flashiest, or the most desperate for attention. They were the ones who exuded calm confidence, who didn't need to prove their worth because they knew it inherently. That's who you are becoming, someone whose presence speaks volumes, even in silence. At this stage, you've stopped chasing. You're no longer reaching out hoping they'll notice or care. Instead, you've created a life so fulfilling, so rich, that their absence no longer feels like a loss. The irony is, this is precisely the point when they're most likely to feel your absence deeply. They'll see the strength you've cultivated, the peace you now embody, and they'll realize just how much you've grown in the space they left behind. But here's the thing, whether they come back or not no longer defines you. You've outgrown the need for their acknowledgement. You've built something far more valuable, a relationship with yourself. Stoicism teaches us to find peace in what we can control, and by this stage you've mastered the art of letting go of what you cannot. Imagine this transformation as a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. The process wasn't easy. It required darkness, stillness, and patience. But now you've broken free, and your wings are stronger than ever. You're no longer bound by the limitations of the past. You've embraced your growth, and it shows in every aspect of your life. So what does it mean to be unforgettable? It means living in a way that reflects your growth, your resilience, and your authenticity. It means becoming someone who chooses their own peace over someone else's chaos. It means walking through life with a quiet confidence that draws people in, not because you demand attention, but because your energy speaks for itself. Being unforgettable isn't about being invincible, it's about being unshakable. It's about standing firm in your worth, even when the world around you feels uncertain. It's about embracing the parts of yourself that once felt broken and realizing they were the foundation for your strength all along. Let's ground this in action. What does the unforgettable you look like in daily life? It's someone who wakes up with purpose, who sets boundaries without apology, who invests in relationships that uplift and inspire. It's someone who makes time for what matters, whether that's a passion project, a career goal, or simply moments of stillness to recharge. The unforgettable you doesn't settle for breadcrumbs. They don't cling to relationships that don't honor their worth. Instead, they choose to create a life that feels full, vibrant, and meaningful, one that doesn't hinge on the presence or absence of anyone else. And that kind of life, it's irresistible. At this stage, your transformation is undeniable. The person who once felt lost in the silence, who doubted their worth, who questioned if they could endure the journey, that person is now a memory. In their place stands someone who knows their value, who lives with intention, and who radiates the kind of energy that others can't help but admire. But here's the most important part. The unforgettable you isn't about impressing anyone else. It's about living in a way that feels true to you. It's about building a life that brings you joy, regardless of who notices or doesn't. It's about finding peace within yourself and letting that peace guide your choices, your relationships, and your future. Think of this stage as the final piece of a puzzle. Each phase of the journey, silence, energy, growth, has been a piece leading up to this moment. And now the picture is complete. You're no longer defined by the person you went no contact for. You're defined by the person you've become because of it. At this stage, you've embraced the principles of Stoicism fully. You've learned to focus on what's within your control, your actions, your thoughts, your growth, and let go of the rest. You've stopped seeking external validation and started living in alignment with your inner values. And that kind of life, it's unforgettable. The transformation doesn't end here, though. Becoming your best self is a lifelong journey, and the lessons you've learned through this process will continue to serve you. The resilience you've built, the peace you've found, and the strength you've uncovered will guide you in every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your goals to your daily choices. So as you step into this final stage, let it be a celebration of everything you've accomplished. You've weathered the silence, reclaimed your energy, grown through the breaking point, and embraced your best self. And now, you're living proof that transformation is possible, not because of anyone else, but because of your own courage, commitment, strength. You've become someone unforgettable. And the best part, you did it for you. The journey forward. Becoming the unforgettable you isn't just a destination, it's a new way of living. As you step into this version of yourself, you'll find that the lessons you've learned don't just apply to your past relationship, but to every area of your life. Your career, friendships, family dynamics, and even your relationship with yourself will reflect the transformation you've undergone. You've cultivated resilience. When challenges arise, you'll no longer feel overwhelmed or powerless. Instead, you'll approach them with clarity, guided by the principles of Stoicism. You'll ask, what can I control? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? And in doing so, you'll maintain your peace, no matter the circumstances. You've also developed a sense of self-worth that is unshakable. The opinions, actions, or indifference of others no longer define you. You've learned that your value isn't something to be earned or proven, it's inherent. This realization frees you from the cycle of seeking validation, allowing you to move through life with a calm confidence that attracts the right people and opportunities into your orbit. But perhaps the most powerful change is this: you've learned to prioritize yourself. This doesn't mean you've become selfish or unkind. On the contrary, it means you're now able to give from a place of abundance rather than depletion. You've filled your own cup, and because of that, you're able to show up for others with authenticity, generosity, and love. Let's pause and reflect on something profound. This transformation wasn't about them. Yes, their absence may have been the catalyst, but the growth you've experienced, that was all you. You chose to face the discomfort, to sit with the silence, to push through the breaking point. You chose to reclaim your energy, to invest in yourself, and to become your best self. And now you're living proof that the most powerful relationship you can have is the one you have with yourself. Does that mean you'll never think about them again? Not necessarily. Memories will come, as they always do. But the difference now is that those memories won't hold the same power over you. They'll be a part of your story, yes, but not the defining chapter. The defining chapter is the one you're writing now, as the unforgettable you. As you move forward, remember that this journey is ongoing. You'll continue to grow, to learn, to evolve. And with each step, you'll deepen your understanding of who you are and what you want from life. You'll attract relationships that reflect your worth, not because you're seeking them, but because they naturally align with the energy you now embody. So what's next for you? That's entirely up to you. Maybe it's pursuing a dream you've put on hold, building connections with people who uplift and inspire you, or simply enjoying the peace that comes from living authentically. Whatever path you choose, know that you're walking it as someone who is grounded, resilient, and unforgettable. And remember, this journey wasn't about making them miss you, it was about making you love yourself. And that, above all else, is what makes you truly unforgettable. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I hope these stages have not only guided you but empowered you to step into your strength and live as the best version of yourself. Keep going. The best is yet to come.